Okay. Die Machschäfer lost plötzlich ein rosa scharfen Geschrei in Felder rein, wie ein alter Sarocke zerkratzt sie sich. So the Machschäfer, the witch, suddenly lets out a sharp cry out loud into the in Felderrhein, into the distance, sort of like an old magpie. She squawked out, Krivitsia, and that I think means it's the name of the young woman. I think it could mean pretty girl.
It could mean, but I think it's the name of the young woman.
It's
here.
the name of the young woman,
yeah.
A temperbielen von hint entfert sie op. The dull barking of the dogs responds to her. Und von hinter zwei Bäumer in Feld reißt sich op a Stück Schotten. And from behind two trees in the veld, there appears a shadow. A shadow rises up. A geschaffen von Pferd und Boyd lässt sich weicher von groß zum harten Schliach. So the sound, the beating of the horses and the covered wagon is heard heard softly on the grass over the grass and onto the hard path. Erst da hebt die Räder on zu klappen, and only there, when it reaches the path, the wheels start to sound, to beat. Die Zigeuner stellt sich op und spielt noch gicher und fleißiger, nicht herabnehmendig die lachendicke Augen und Zehen von die zwei Kinder. So now the gypsy stops, and his laughing eyes play more quickly and fleißiger.
And sort of nim gicher and fleißiger.
More agilely, yes. Yeah. And he didn't take his eyes off and his sharp teeth from the children.
His laughing eyes, his lachen, he knows now that he's got them. They've got them.
Yeah. His laughing eyes, correct. And his teeth, his big smile.
Oh.
Leut der Ruhigkeit von vor und klappernisch von die ungebundene Emmers, der kennt Moscheke als is einer von die zigeunerische Wegener, was haben noch da nicht lang geheuert auf jenem Seit unserer. I think let's stop there and just go through. According to the calmness of the wagon and the clattering of the bound pails, Moshe recognized that this was one of the gypsy wagons which had not a long time previously encamped on the other side of the lake. Wenn der ganze Tabor hat sich do gewinn besetzt, where the whole gypsy encampment had been settled. Upon him, letzte Beidel fort schon euch weg, git Moscheke a Tracht. Heint zu lieb, was haben sie uns a Herr verbeten? So this is what Moscheke is thinking. Apparently, the last covered wagon is now also going away, thought Moscheke. So for what reason have they brought us here? Have they invited us over here? Und die alte Zigeunerke, Punkt, wie sie wollt treffen mit ein schwarzen Kuck, seine Verdachten zerschmeichelt sich zu ihm mit einem breiten Mäuel und zittert und zieht Wörter wie Patoke Fedemer. So the old gypsy woman, as if she had guessed with her black look what he was thinking about, smiled at him with her broad mouth and drew words from her mouth like threads of molasses.
Yeah.
Azoi, Orderl. So that's quite right, you little eagle. Grat budim. Prostat here budim, and that means let's play. Mirren spielen, mirren sich gesegnen. So let's play, and we'll say goodbye. That's at the bottom of the page. Die Hint billen naunter. The dogs were barking closer. Zwei Klovim seinen das mit mogere eingefallene Beicher. There were two dogs with thin, sunken bellies. Sie verlosen dem Wagen und warfen mit die wölfische Mordes auf die Kinder, wie sie wollten sie hintisch gemussert. So they ran in front of the wagon and they threw glances, wolfish glances with their snouts at the children, as if they were chiding them as dogs in a dog-like way. Hav, was wilt ihr da? So, what do you children want here? Hav, was darft ihr da? What do you need over here? Nor der junge Zigeuner geht auf sie a Sicke durch die weiße Zähne und geht gaslonisch a Glanz mit die Augen. But the young gypsy hissed at them through his white teeth, and Gazlonish, robber-like,
yeah, robber-like, yeah.
robber-like, glanced at them with his eyes. Und die beiden Hint ziehen ein die Ecken und treten auf zurück. And both dogs put their tails between their legs, and they moved backward. They moved back. Auf der Royer Kelnier sitzt ein zigeunerischer Schicksal und zieht hastig die Leitskes. On the coachman's seat, a young gypsy girl was sitting, and she hastily pulled at the reins. Nicht sie sitzt, nicht sie steht auf die Knie. She wasn't sitting, and she wasn't leaning on her knees. Moisheke wollte kennen schweren, als sie die Jinge Zehanke in kurzen, farbigen Kleidel, was hat alle Tag getanzt auf ein Teppichel neben Zawulek, und welche hat grad heint gefällt. So Moisheke could have sworn that this was the young gypsy girl in the short, colorful dress who danced every day on the carpet, the mat next to the Zavulek, and today she was missing from the group. Upon him, sie ist das Krivitia, welche die alte Zigeunerke hat okest herausgerufen von hinter die zwei Bäumer im Feld. Apparently, this was the Krivitia, or the young girl, or the woman whose name was Krivitia, who the old gypsy woman had just recently called out from behind the two trees in the veld. Nur der Zigeuner mit dem Schramm lost him nicht klären, but the gypsy with the scar on his face didn't allow him to make sure to think about it. Verspielt ihm a Kopf gich mit der heiserike Katerinka. So he distracted him. He distracted his mind with the hoarse organ that he was grinding. Etwas hefkerdiks, schicker freilichs, reißt sich ein Zind von ihrer Luft pfeiflich. So something reckless or abandoned and joyous cries out now from the windpipes of the organ. Das passt sich a Hornit zu der Sumnigkeit in offenem Feld und zu der vernachtiger Stillkeit in Eckstadt. This didn't fit in at all with the gloominess of the open felt, and the dusk quietness of this edge of the town, of the city. Und mit dem Mal zersinkt sich auf seine Stimme, der junge Zigeuner, wie wollte rein in eine meure dicke Hispalis von sein eigenem nicht passendigen Spiel. And suddenly he began singing with his voice, singing out loud, this young gypsy, as if he wanted to enter into this terrible excitement of his own playing, which didn't fit in with the surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Matarashka, Lieshka, Miechka. I think is Matarashka the name of the monkey?
I think so. I think we had that last time. Matryoshka was the monkey, yeah.
I think the name of the monkey.
I don't know who was Liashka and Tieshka.
And yeah, Tieshka doesn't explain what those were. Werter euch glatt in der Welt herein. And these were words that were just sung out in aloud with apparently no meaning. Euch aponym zu verhacken a Kopf, apparently also to confuse the mind. Zipkes Händel reißt sich Pawolnike von Moishekes Hand und auf zurück. So Zipke's little hand was being pulled out of Moishekes hand backwards. Ihr kindische Chusch schäptet ihr, als do is etwas nicht als wie es bedarf zu sein. Her childish sense whispered to her that here there was something that was not as it should be. Moisheke is euch nicht mit allem, nor schämt sich überzureißen als feine Gastfreundschaft mit Musik. Chappen inmitten drinnen die Fiss auf die Plätze und Handläufen. So Moisheke wasn't quite with it. But he was embarrassed to drag himself away from the Gastfreundschaft, from the hospitality of the music, of his connection with the music, to suddenly happen die Fiss auf die Plätze. One can't translate it literally to
suddenly to leave.
To run away.
To flee.
To flee, yeah.
But is that die Fiss auf the places, to put his feet on his shoulders?
On his shoulders. Yeah.
That's just a colloquialism. Doesn't mean that. It means
it doesn't mean that, but aren't we all rooting that he would do it, but he doesn't? Okay.
Yeah. That's right, yeah. So he should have just run away, but he didn't. He stayed where he was. Halter der Fahr Zipke zurück und beruhigt sie. So because of this, he held Zipke back and he comforted her. Und da wollen sie bald spielen Komödie. Ort wirst zu sehen. So here they're going to play this comic stuff. You'll see right now. Okay. Nechama, do you want to carry on?
Oh, who wants to go on? Okay. Zu Komödie kommt das aber nicht mehr. But this is not coming to comedy. Vino de Boyd mit der Krivitia stellt sich up, brecht euch a ganze Mischmasch von hastige Bewegungen und brutale Kolas. So the carriage with the Krivitsia, which that's her nickname or her name, the young gypsy woman who was the dancer, stops. There breaks out a mishmash, a confusion of hot. I don't know what the word is, bavegungen, but in brutal voices. Was verplontert jede Rechnung und vermischt jeder Übergang von ein Geschehnis zu des Weiter. So just as this comedy, this is not going to be, and breaks out these brutal voices, which confuses or which destroys any any reason, I guess, and mixes the transition from one happening to another. So that it's just a totally confused moment that they have orchestrated. Die freilich sejuschte Katharinke stellt sich plötzlich op. The happy, I guess it is the wild Katharinka stops completely. Und der
Ziyushita, I got as infuriating.
The infuriating. Well, it's the freilich infuriating Katharinka. Well, it makes sense. I mean, it was both, I guess. Stops. Und der Zigeuner geht sie a tu Eus von schwarzen Hals und a Wurf rein in Boyd. And the gypsy he takes it off from his black throat and throws it into the carriage. Sein schmeicheldicker Ponim zerkrimmt sich mit Retzicha. His smiling face is twisted with murder. Und zu der ockerisch abgetriebene Hint geht a Pfeif und a Reiz on. And to the accursed, the just recently driven off dog, he gives them a whistle and a call in. Onwesendig mit dem Finger auf Moischiken, like he's pointing to Moischike. Kussi. Die zwei Hint mit die welfische Piskes geben sich a los auf beide Kinder mit a Beis keichendicken Billen. So he's instructing the dogs, who are apparently very well trained, and the two dogs with the wolfish faces give a jump. They pounce onto the two children with a cruel bias, a wicked keichendicken. Don't know what that is. Keichendicken, with their barkings. Hawau. Früher hat der Balabus nicht erlaubt. Earlier, the owner, the master, did not permit it. Itzel wollen wir sich mit euch abrechnen. Oh, so it's what they're thinking. It's what the dogs are thinking. Earlier, the boss man didn't permit it, but now we're going to have our we're going mit euch. Now we're going to going to make an accounting with you.
Ja.
Sipke lost the voice a nicht menschlichen Quitsch, war Schreck und zittert. Sipke gives out a like inhuman cry because of such great fear, and she's trembling. Habt sie und die alte Machashefa, the old, the Machashefa, the witch, grabs her. Michlomersht von Grois Rachmonas, apparently from great Rachmonas,
Pity.
not pity. What is it? Pity
Compassion,
or
perhaps.
help, wanting to help her. Wellendik Ratevin, a kind von Gefahr, like she wants to save the child from Gefahr is like weapons.
Danger.
Danger. Und gibt sie a Riss zu sich, and she pulls little Zipka to herself. Moishike's Hand was hat festgehalten Zipka's kleinere Händel. Moishike's hand, which was so strongly holding Zipka's smaller hand, bleibt hängen in der Luften, versteift, iberig. His hand, which had just a minute ago been holding Zipka's little hand, is left hanging in the air superfluously. Pospeit noch zu sehen, wie Zipke wahrt sich bei der alten Zigeunerke auf den Ohren und wie ein wilde Wetter Hund reißt sich zu ihr. But he has the time to see that Zipka throws herself at the old Zigeunerke, the old witch, on her arm. And one of the wild dogs, Reisich, goes towards her. Today, kadei unzuchappen sie war ein blomliche Fissel. So he sees, he notices that the dog, the little girl is holding on to the witch's arm, and the dog is ripping itself towards her and going to grab her dangling foot. I mean, her foot is dangling from the witch's shoulder, I guess. So he sees what's going on, but it's too late. Die alte Tupet mit dem Fuß auf den Hund und das Malpele halt offen das Maul vor Schreck und grabbelt in der Luft mit beide Lapkes. And this is again the old one, the witch, stamps with her foot on the dog, and she's going to protect the girl because that's what they're kidnapping. They're not going to let the dogs do anything. And the monkey holds open his mouth. I don't know if it's a him or a her, with fear, and is like clawing into the air with the two hands. In der zweite Regel ist schon Moisheke vernommen mit Abtreiben von sich der andere ungereizten Hund, und sieht nicht, was mit Zipkes kommt weiter vor. So this is the moment when it happens. The old witch stamps away the dog, and the monkey has fear. The monkey here, like we've said, it's like there's a menschliche neshama here, and her mouth is open from fear. Did I say it already? And and in the second moment, Moisheke is taken up with trying to free himself from the other dog, and he doesn't see what else is happening to Tzipka. Moisheke entläuft nicht. He doesn't run away. Rockt sich afilu nicht auf zurück. He doesn't even pull himself back. Chotsch das Herz klappt ihm sehr stark, even though his heart is pounding so hard. Adarab, bleibt stehen wie eingeschweckt auf ein Ort und guckt der Kelef gleich in der blutige Augen rein. So he's protecting himself from the dog. Instead of running away, Adarabba, he stays there like as though he was hammered. He was hammered into one nailed, that's it, exactly. Nailed into one earth and looks the dog directly in his bloody eyes. Es ist bei ihm ein ausgeprobeter Mittel, aufzuschrecken a bösen Hund. This was his proven, his many times tested method of to scare away a mean, a vicious dog. Und das helft euch jetzt. And it helps also now. Aber wenn der große Kelef steht ein bisschen ab und Moisheke habt wieder a cook, but when the dog that he has so bravely stood against stands away a bit, and Moisheke has a chance to give another look, der seht mehr keiner nicht hinter sich. He doesn't see anybody behind himself. Nicht die alte Zigeunerke, nicht Tzipke. He doesn't see the old witch nor Tzipke. Beide seien wie in der Erde rein. It's as though the two of them had fallen into the earth. Der seht nur wie der junge Zigeuner mit dem Schramm auf der Morde stellt hastig ein ungestiefelten Fuß auf den Axt von a vorderster Rod und springt auf der Kelenier, wie auf a Sprugine, okay? What does he see? He doesn't anymore see the witch and Tzipka. He sees the young gypsy with the scar on his jaw that he puts hastily one of his booted feet on the axe of the front wheel, and he springs up into the seat, the carriage seat, wie auf a, and this word is an interesting word, wie auf a, hold on please, wie auf, sorry, say again.
Sprugine.
Say again.
Sprugine.
No, Sprugine. But what does that mean?
A spring.
Oh, a spring, like a spring.
Yeah.
Like on a spring. Geht gleich a Riss, the laces von Chrydisis Hand und hebt und ziehen und schmeißen der Pferd unhachmannes. So until this time, it was the young gypsy who was sitting there and who was working the horses, but he rips the, not the bridles, what is that?
The
called?
reins.
The reins from her hand, and he gives her, and he starts to beat the horse without any pity. Azoi kirevet ois die poor oifen schliach. And so he takes this carriage onto the country road. In der Tief von der Boyd der habt Moisheke a bakantem kvitch. In the middle, in the center of this carriage, Moisheke notices or catches a known kvitch. Im dacht sich, Sippekes scharfe Keulcher ist das. Und bald springt schon den ganze Gespannen in Galopp, a Rupschliach zu Orsche Seite. And it seems to him that this is Sipka's sharp little voice, and soon the whole gespann, what horses when they're put together, what is that called? The team of horses are in a gallop on the country road to the other side, to the Orscher side. A bissel hechel von Boyd hetzigt sich noch der zigeunischer Kopf in streuenem Kapellioschel. And a little higher from the carriage, you can sort of see the zigeunischer, the head, in that straw hat that he wore. Das guckt upon him von hastigen Antreiben und Schlagen Machs Retzach dem Feld. This comes apparently from running quickly and beating with murderous hits the horses. Soll laufen bosgicher, that he's going to go even faster. Das Billen von beider Hint, der weitert sich. The barking of the two dogs is drifting away, is distancing itself. So it happened. They grabbed her. Golda. Boy.
First, Shalom Aleichem, everybody.
And Aleichem Shalom.
Das alles spielt sich ab, als sei Meshine dir. This happens so quickly crazy, wie in a schweren Traum von a hohen Schwindeltreppe gefallen. This happens so crazily quickly, as if in a deep dream from a high Schwindeltreppe, steps that from a high fallen step.
A Schwindeltrip or a spiral staircase.
Yeah.
So as if he fell down a spiral staircase.
Meisje chuchet zich uit. A lot of these words are strange to me. So if you could help
to all of us, it's all strange.
Yeah.
But,
He comes to himself. He
wakes himself up.
Yeah.
Okay. Und die erste Bewegung seine, was macht, ist noch zu weisen, der antrunener Beid. So Mashika, it's the first thing that he does is he keeps running after the carriage. Nou, die erste nicht sichere und wackelte gesprungen, so läuft sich mit dem Mal und sie jagt sich mit Impet und mit Messias Nefesh.
Mhm.
But the first steps that aren't secure, actually, and are Vulcan-dicke. They're like
Wackelendig, shaking.
Yeah.
shaky springs. And suddenly he's running after with such anxiety and with Mesiris Nefesh. I know Nefesh is soul, but I don't know what Mesiris is.
Like, and, here's a phone. with Mesiris Nefesh isn't like misery of
This is
soul.
devotion.
No, it's almost like devotion.
Oh, devotion, Mesiris Nefesh. He tries so hard, this child.
Very hard, yes.
Eine flinke Wiesler trugen ihm die
Ruach.
Ruach.
His fast feet are carrying him like
the wind.
Like the wind, like a spirit.
He runs so fast. He runs so fast.
Der Wind pfeift in die Augen und bald der Vetter wieder leben sich die selfische Piskes von die Hand. The wind is whistling in his ears, and suddenly he sees near him the mouths of the wild dogs. Some boy lassen sie ihm nicht zu. They don't allow him to get closer. Aber ihm allein haben sie euch nicht an. But they also don't touch him. They don't grab him. They gedenken, they remember the dogs, the Klovim.
Mhm.
Als they haben da zu tun mit Ayatol Akvat. The dogs know that what they're dealing with now is the stealth of a child, I imagine.
No, a strong little akvat, like a. Remember, he stared the dogs down just a few minutes ago. They know that he's not any pushover, so they're not going to touch him, but they're not letting him near the carriage.
So, sorry, Achvat is a hero. We had it before.
Yeah, he's a kvat.
They know he's
Some
a hero.
kvat.
Like the
Some
dogs
kvat.
recognize his strength.
Yeah.
I think es haben an nachzugeben. Meister's strength they start again, but aber die Verantwortung for the Mädel, because of his anxiety for the little girl, was allein hat verfehlt in Felderein, that he himself, he feels responsible that he took her
Right.
there. Brennt him via fire. It's burning him up. Hits the munter. It's giving him the strength to continue. Zipke, 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 schreit der Kirchendick. He's zipke 3 times. He's calling her, and you could hear his throat is how loud it is. Via Benumina, when I say sharp and quick and sharply, als ein Kohl schreit über das Billen von beiden Kleven, that his voice is so strong that it's overshouting the barking of the 2 dogs. By Verbeten sich von Schliach gelingt, Mäßiges anzuhaben, sich an einen kurzen Drang versteckt Reis unter dem Fire verbieten sich. Sind schwierig, when messages anzutreffen. Could you translate that for me, Yankov, if you don't mind? Fire verbieten.
Yeah, it's about a twist, at a twist in the path.
Yeah.
Moisheke was able to cling to a short bar,
Yeah.
versteckter Reus unteren Beut, which was sticking out from under this covered wagon.
Aber der Zigeunerskopf mit dem streuenden Kapeluschel hängt sich gleich heraus von Kelnia. But the gypsy's head with the straw hat is hanging out of the carriage. Guckt sich mit verglattete Zähnen und a schwere Schmitz von a beckigen und a verknippelten Beich trefft Meistigen. Oh God.
Treff. I love that word, treff.
Yeah.
Meet.
But he's looking at he's looking with disgusting teeth, and he grabs his whip and he bangs it, and he gets Michigan Ibrahim House und Nacken, and his neck and his and his part of his back, I imagine, wie ein angeglitter eiserner Rut mit schmolzener Treppenblei. Like
Pretty
a,
nasty.
yeah, like a angeglito, like a,
Uneven.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Uneven.
Oh, like an uneven iron
Rod.
rod with schmaltz in it
With melted drops of lead.
of lead.
This is a weapon of destruction that Moisheke tracks.
Yeah, I like Moisheke als und kühlt sich herab in kalten oceandicken Staub auf den Schliach. This is getting worse and worse. Screams Moisheke. And was is kühlt.
He rolls down.
I'm sorry.
He rolls down. He falls down.
Oh.
He falls down in the dusty road.
In kalten, asiatischen Staub aufschlägt. How gehalten, and he's half, almost completely,
Like fainting.
Fainting.
fainting. Eine Regel, sie sieht sich herum das Bilden von beiden Händen wie ein kochendicke Kessel und killt sich bald ab. One moment, he looks around himself, and the barking of both dogs are like a pot that's cooking and cools itself A scharfe Kitzeln in Nuz lässt them nicht rauschen. A sharp tickle in his nose doesn't allow him to faint. Springt up, he jumps up, geht vier mit der Glonje über den Panem and der set blood. He starts, geht vier mit der Glonje über den Panem.
His palm, his hand. He wipes his hand over his face and he sees the blood.
Sees blood. He klappt sich die Nase an the found it. And he bangs his nose as he's falling. Aber der Wagen is schon weit, but the wagon is far away. Kaum zu sehen das Staub Wolkendel auf den Schliach. You can hardly see the because of the dust on the road. Now, dem Billen von die Hand hört sich noch, but you can still hear the barking of the dogs very clearly, ganz deutlich. Und über der ganze weggeschwommene Geschehnis and after the entire happening with the wagon and everything, steht a Reitkeit von der vergangenen Sonne. You can see the redness of the falling sun. Und ein ungeglied Wolkendel schwimmt und lacht. And one cloud that's shiny from the setting sun, it's as if it's swimming and laughing.
Ja, okay. Moschekes geschlagener Keppel begreift noch als nicht klar, was da ist geschehen, wie soll und zu was. The Moschekes beaten up head doesn't get yet clearly what happened here, how and for what. Fehlt noch, es ist geschehen ein Unglück, ein größer Unglück, was man kann nicht verrechnen. He only feels that a terrible tragedy occurred here, a very big tragedy that cannot be corrected. Schießt euch mit der Gesehen und guckt sich herum. So he's like shooting out, bursting out, with crying, and he looks around. Sucht etwas mit die Augen. He is looking for something with his eyes. No, keiner hört ihm nicht und sieht ihm nicht, but nobody hears him and nobody sees him. Siehst ist der Schlag und die jüdische Häuser hinter die Bremlach seinen weit. The road here is deserted, it's desolate and gloomy. And the Jewish houses in the back of the trees are far away. Is sich verlaufen. He got lost. Laufen hat schon mehr, kein Koach nicht. He no longer has the energy to run. Lässt sich gehen mit dem Schlag auf zurück und weint bitter auf hoch, bitter und hoch auf den Kohl. So he is going back on the road, and he It's crying bitterly and loudly. Der ganze Koyach von die Fies is in Itzter rein in Hals. All his energy that he had in the feet went now into his throat, namely, he's screaming. Schreit und schreit hysterisch. So he is striding and yelling hysterically, ohne Schum Sinnen, mit derselben Messias Nefesh, wie ist Akkord gelaufen. He is screaming hysterically without any logic, without any explaining, I believe, with the same devotedness that he, with which he first was running. Zipke, streit noch anand und vergeht sich im Gewinn. Und he's calling Zipke, and he's consistently screaming, and he is getting lost in crying. Alleweile dreht dem Kopf und bleibt stehen. Every minute he turns his head. He turns his head and he remains standing. Efter haben die Zigeiner Charotte und bringen Zipke up. Perhaps the gypsies are sorry or are regretting what they did, and they are bringing her back. I'm readiness. No, this is nonsense. Die Zigeiner trachten viele nicht von Charotte oben. The gypsies don't even think about regret. Der Schlag ist Shabbos dick wischt und reutlich beleuchten von einer lachendicken Wolkendruck. The road is desolated like on a Friday night. With the desolation of a Friday night. And it is also lit with red by a laughing
Cloud.
Little cloud.
This cloud has been
by a laughing
us.
cloud. All of a sudden, I thought not the word cloud, but a laughing cloud, yeah. We know
What's this
Moshe
image, the laughing cloud?
laughing cloud, yeah, it's that like the cloud is laughing at this scene now. We know Moshe tritt wieder rein in der Orscher Bremlach. Der Herrn Menschen seine Geschrei. As soon as Moshe is stepping again into the trees, this forest of trees, people are hearing his yelling. Jedenes noch Lichtmenschen mit seidenen Tichlach auf die Cap reißen auf die Fenster. Jewish women, after candlelighting with silk kerchiefs on their heads, they are opening the windows. Ausgezwogene Jinglach mit die Sidoremlach in die Hand laufen von die Teuren. Now, ausgezwogene I don't think that I found it. Zwogene, it's like a forced.
No, no.
I didn't
found it.
find an explanation for this.
I found
Is
it
it for Schweigen?
as little boys with washed hair.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Appropriate for Erev Shabbos.
With the prayer books in their hands are coming out of their doors. Men fragt Moscheken und man schreit zu ihm und man zuckt ihm. They are asking Moscheke and they are yelling to him and they're trying to draw out of him what's going on. Ingele, was weinst du? Ingele, wemens bist du? Ingele, wer hat dich geschlagen? Ingele, why are you crying? Ingele, boy, who do you belong to? Boy, who hit you? Auf alle Scheles, entweder noch Moscheke mit zwei, werden die herzreißendige geschrien. Dorten, Zipke, to all these questions, Moscheke is answering with yelling that is crying and heartbreaking. Over there, Zipke. Und weist dann mit dem Händel auf den weiten Schlag. And he shows with his hand, he points with his hand at the distant road. Bisslich weiß wird arumem a redel. Gradually, a circle is being formed around him. Imetzer treißelt ihm ungeduldig. Imetzer wischt ihm mit an das Pichel dem geschwollenen Hals und Nacken. Someone is encouraging him, is cheering him up. Cheering him up impatiently. Somebody else is wiping with a wet kerchief his swollen throat and neck. Then zeblutigt nasal, the bloody nose, the white. Those frischt him a bisschen of that, refreshes him a little bit. Doch versteht nicht zu answern allem mit a talk, but he doesn't manage to answer everybody methodically, with an order. Warum einer schlägt über dem anderen und der Ton ist groß, because one is one is interrupting the other one, and there's a whole big tumult. Wemens bist du? Kivens bin ich. Whose are you? I belong to Kive. Ah, Kives. Wer hat dir zerblutigt? Who injured you? Nehmt op Zipken. Get Zipke. Welche Zipke? Zipke Boris. Die Zigeuner haben sie zugehabt. Zipke that belongs to Boris. The gypsies kidnapped her. Wie? Zugehabt? What? They kidnapped her? Tivke Boris, Bore mit die große Augen. Tivke, who belongs to Bore with the big eyes. Was redest du was? What are you talking about? And he answered, the Zigeuner mit der Bujanke, the gypsies with the monkey. Was weiter, während die Scheiles und Schuves hastiger, ungelumperter und Moscheke bleibt on Atem. They continue this conversation, the questions and the answers are becoming more hastiger is from I would say unpleasant.
Hurried.
What did you say?
Hasty, like
Hurried.
hasty. Mhm.
Okay, I don't hear, but anyway. Ungelumperter, like awkward. More awkward. Und Moscheke bleibt on Atem. Moscheke remains without breath. Zu Wohnung von einer jüdischen Stube mit ungezündeten Lichterlach im Fenster drückt sich zu wie ein geschlagener Hintel und schlippet. He is grabbing, he's holding on to a Jewish home that has lit candles in the window. He presses himself to that like a beaten up dog, and he sobs. Man kann von dem mehr kein Wort nicht herausbekommen. It is impossible to get any word from him anymore. I
we
think
know
it's
they're
enough, no?
Well, maybe we should
Hello?
read it. I mean,
Hello, I stopped.